Bad wrap. Wrap too tight. Yeah, that's the way.
Who's wrapped too tight? Not Declan. All right. Oh.
You're forgetting to take into account that.
All right. Good. How long do I have, Declan?
Like 2.
2 minutes?
Yeah,
Perfect. Thanks, man.
who's that? So I moved it. I thought it was almost here. How are we doing? Still struggling?
Have a good one, Brad.
2 times. What do we think? Oh, never mind.
I was literally on it.
I think so.
You guys have these switched around, the hot PC and bit PC.
That's actually really good.
Have those changed permanently, or
Actually, somebody
Yeah, wait, sorry. We
had on
both.
my list.
yeah, no,
So-
just right here.
Yeah.
I just took a picture before I reloaded the profile, so it flipped them. You guys obviously changed them at some point,
Yeah. Is it cool to switch them back?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'd be
and I can permanently switch them if that's the way you guys want.
yeah,
them.
like if this one can stay on.
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome. And then that one stays bid PC. Yeah, like yeah. If you scroll to that one and then
What's-
click down.
that's-
Yeah.
That needs to be off.
Are those Girl Guides? Very good.
Bit PC. Ooh, that's fine. And then you had bid off here, right? For the guest 3.
Yeah, that was bid up. That's there. That mic right there.
But you want that permanent as well? It's the guest 3, or
Yeah, it's honestly that one's probably a little less. Like I think it's fine.
Like, I'll change it. Okay.
There, that's better. Very good.
Here's the lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, the Oilers play a complete game against the Mammoth last night, proving once again the gap between ceiling and floor for this team is unprecedented. Plus, the McDavid 400 is complete. Stay tuned for the McDavid 500 and on and on and on. And do the Elks have their quarterback of the future? Those stories and more today on the Lowdown, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month, featuring their best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. We are live on YouTube and Sports 1440 AM radio, online, iHeartRadio, Sports1440.ca, and Radio Player Canada, Apple, Spotify podcast houses after the show. We really appreciate that. And we tweet it out on X. You can find us. Now, if you don't want to find us, we're difficult to avoid, but we make it that way. You can reach us on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, J Fenwick04, and Mac McClellan. And we can text or call us at 833-401-1440, at 833-401-1440. At 1 o'clock today, Kevin McCurdy will be our feature guest, and we'll have declinations at 1:40 today. It is time for the introductions. None of my verbal pressure points irritate her, but she's new. Give it time. Ladies and gentlemen, Mackenzie McLennan. Mackenzie McLennan, everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point it will,
Oh,
but
yeah. No.
everything's new, shiny.
Right. And
Sunshine.
you don't, I have not seen you roll your eyes at anybody. So you're so new.
Sometimes Josh, he
Okay.
just got one in Fantasy
Wow.
Frenzy, actually.
He just,
He was
I didn't want to say it, but I suspected.
he was talking smack about Jalen Hurts, even
What
though
the
he's
hell is
won
the
a
matter
Super
with
Bowl
him?
and been to the Super Bowl
Yeah.
twice.
Let me see. How many Super Bowls has he been to and how many has he won? I think it's 2-1. And how about your guy? How about your guy, buddy? Yeah. Here we go. All right. He gets irritated when I say it's spring. I talk about Brad Pitt, and I'm always very kind. Or casually mentioned that he might want to comb his hair before he sees his mom. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
Yeah, hi, happy to be here. Not only did I irritate Mac with my slander of Jalen Hurts, but I also made her make a clip on her own, and she was getting very frustrated with the fact that I would not answer any of her questions.
Wow. Well, good teamwork.
It's about that time, little trial by fire. I feel
Exactly.
I feel that.
Despite being a good friend of Josh Fenwick, he gets irritated when I mention Fenwick. And he pushes back on my ideas about drafting NFL quarterbacks. It's a brilliant idea. They just won't adopt it. Nothing triggers him like oatmeal and Mrs. Andrews. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
Wow. I mean, you just hit 4 topics that bring me great. My goodness. If we could go back to the Jalen Hurts slander for a second, that'd be
Sure,
no, I'm
sure.
just kidding. We're not going to
No.
do that.
All right.
No, yeah, listen. Wow. I can't get over how angry you just made me 4 minutes into the show by mentioning everything that cuts deep into me. But you know what?
I
Let's have a
didn't
great
mention
show.
the
Let's have a
slamming
lot
of the
fun.
cupboards this week.
No,
Learn
I didn't
to
really
let go.
I didn't really do that. I didn't
You
really
did
slam the
do it.
cupboards.
He-
I was opening
Josh
them
saw it.
quickly. I was opening them quickly.
No.
I wouldn't say
And you were
buddy.
closing them very quickly and loudly.
You were
But this-
grumbly bear.
This is more of a thing
Uh,
that angers Lowetide, it seems, than you.
really quickly before we obviously dive into the opening kind of whatever. Connor McDavid. I mean, it's just a privilege.
It
And
totally
once
is.
again, it's just a privilege. I just want, because I was obviously pretty cooch heavy earlier this week. I just want to, it's a privilege.
Make it
We
up
are
for
lucky. 4th fastest to 1,200. You are the man.
Well, here's the thing about Connor McDavid. For those of us who are a certain age, we already saw the Gretzky group and the Messier group and all of those guys. And we've seen great hockey, really since 72 and Al Hamilton and Jim Harrison. But this guy is just a super freak. And for goals aren't even his bag, man. And he's got 400 of them. And he's going to end up with a dynamite total. 2,000 points, giddy up. How many goals? We don't know. We really don't. But what an amazing hockey player. And what I want to talk about today is, number one, the Oilers played well. I don't know why they have such a hard time playing. I know, look, the Eastern Conference teams are very good. But if the Oilers bring out that kind of outlet passing and shot blocking and, quite frankly, goaltending, they're going to win hockey games. And I thought they were pretty solid offensively, making great passes. And I want to talk about the changing of the guard on the top line. Not going to happen right now, I don't think, but we'll see. Last night, McDavid played quite a bit of the game with Vasily Podkolzin and Matthew Savoy at 5-on-5. And actually, both wingers on the McDavid line in normal times, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman, checked down to the second line. And they also played very well, along with Jack Roslovic, who scored a couple of goals. That said, I do think, and I wrote about it today in The Athletic, we are beginning to see the start of the changing of the guard in terms of who will play with McDavid. Some of this is speed. Some of this is just, as you grow older, skills erode. Hyman is still a wonderful player, as is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And as I said, I don't think it's going to happen right away. But I will give the Edmonton Oilers credit in finding 2 guys who, when it's time, should be able to step in. And those are Podkolzin and Matthew Savoy. And that goes without saying. Leon Draisaitl can play with McDavid blindfolded, and it's hard to do. But he is brilliant playing with Connor McDavid. That kind of talent is amazing. So for me, I thought Evan Bouchard played very well. I liked the Nurse Murphy pairing. I'm going to say it, and people will get angry. I thought Tristan Jarry played well enough. Now, he wasn't tested. It wasn't one of those games where he was, saving 40 shots or anything like that. But he had a couple that were really difficult. there was the sewer goal, the first one. I mean, that's just luck. And the second goal, you have to make that puck, stop it before it gets out in the crease. But that's one mistake in a game, and they came out and played, I thought, pretty well in the third period. I will give the Oilers credit for a great game, and I wish they could do that more often, because really, we've talked all year about the difference between the ceiling of this team and the floor, and I think we saw it last night. Anybody who wants to take a shot at anything that we talked about or something that I did not bring up?
No, I just think it's like one of those things, they have a performance like this and it's a 5-2 win and they fire on all cylinders. And let's Utah's not Colorado or Tampa, but like Utah's a good team, man. They're a good team. Yeah. They got McDavid said it in his in the post-game media avail. They got a lot of talent over there. They're going to be a playoff team. It's a potential playoff matchup like that. It's a good win against a good team. But it's just, you see these performances so few and far between, and you obviously see some of the big dogs thrash them a little bit, and it kind of gives you pause on what the season could be. But sports are also about, like, I'm very much in this camp. I think I've been clear about this. I know Josh has echoed this recently. Like, this team is in a window where they need to compete and they need to win. But there is also something to be said for appreciating the games as they come and just, living in the moment a little bit. And that's what we saw last night, I think. Like, enjoy the win. Enjoy McDavid making history again. The 2 goals. Bush had a great game. They fired on all cylinders. Like, it was awesome to watch. And let's appreciate it, have fun with it.
They, in recent days, beginning on the, I guess it's the 16th of March, they beat Dallas in Dallas. They beat Vegas in Vegas, and they beat Los Angeles. So Utah Mammoth are not nothing. And as you said, this is a team that, I think they're going to have one of the 2 wild card spots. It looks like Nashville might have the other one, because the Pacific Division, they're the stretchy pants division, and they can't. I think Anaheim won last night. There was a couple of Bettmans, and then the Oilers won, and there were a lot of disappointed teams last night. Josh, your thoughts?
Yeah, shout out to Connor McDavid. Congrats. That's huge. And I like Matt Savoy's game a lot. Like, that's what I really, really came away with. Yeah, the defense played well and everything, but Matt Savoy, to echo your sentiment, is like, yeah, that changing of the guard, playing on McDavid's right side. Like, I want to see that down the stretch of the season here.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Would you, like you just said, you'd like to see it down the stretch of the season? That would imply that one of Nuge or Hyman.
Hyman has to stay.
Okay, so it would be Nuge moving off the line. And let me just ask you, you well known your fandom, so this won't hurt as much.
Sure.
Is it time? Is it time to move Nuge off the top line?
Yeah.
My thing is, though, I don't love Savoy on the left side.
Well, Hyman can play on the left side, and Savoy's playing brilliantly wherever he plays. Savoy is getting it, but I like Podkolzin there too. You make a great point, but I'd play, if I had to choose between Podkolzin and Savoy, I'd go Savoy.
Yeah, because Savoy is more of that, like, we're talking about like a no frills edition of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins right now, right? Or what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was. It's not exactly Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but he's in the neighborhood. But Podkolzin is more of that, like, Hyman ilk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, Hyman is still super, super effective in his role, that he doesn't really have to rely on speed or anything like that. Nuge is a good player. I'm not saying he's not, but Savoy is faster. He could keep up with McDavid a lot better, and he's a good defender, or a good two-way player, good 200-foot player. I think Savoy playing the wing with McDavid is a good call.
Mackenzie.
Yeah, I think it's time to just keep Savoy on that first line, especially because Nuge is such a plug-and-play player.
Yeah.
So I would really like to see him with Dickinson, because that is such a shut-down third line, whether it's Kapanen or I wouldn't like to see Roslovic there, just because he's got
more offensive chops. You might want to have him on the
Yeah.
second line.
So either Podkolzin or Kapanen. Also, they had 24 block shots throughout that entire game. So they were really committed to playing well in front of Jari, which I really liked to see, because that's been a huge issue. And just overall, a very good defensive game. And also, they didn't take their foot off the gas, which we see all the time. That third period, they kept pushing.
They did. Yeah. For me, I thought it was the kind of game, if you can repeat that people are going to, the faith will be renewed. I wrote about Josh Szymanski in The Athletic today, and I'm going to run these numbers down because they're amazing. 5-on-5 away from Connor McDavid. Okay. So this is away from Connor McDavid. 5-on-5, all the forwards. Isaac Howard and Trent Frederick, Matthias Janmark, Adam Henrique are all between 31 and 33%. Nugent Hopkins away from Connor McDavid, 263 minutes, 35%. At the very top, Hyman is at 57%. Podkolzin's at 50%. At the very top, 137 minutes, so it's not like it's a mile of minutes. Josh Szymanski has a 60% goal share away from McDavid and Draisaitl. And that's one of the things that I think the Edmonton Oilers have to look at. We've talked about, in this segment, we've talked about Matthew Savoy and Vasily Podkolzin playing with McDavid last night, changing of the guard. And Szymanski does not have the offensive chops of Podkolzin and certainly not of Savoy, but that's a guy you could marry to the third line, whether it's, Nugent Hopkins on that line or whoever they put on the third line. And he can play center too. So they're cobbling together. I know this has been a difficult year and it's been very frustrating. I watching them is sometimes difficult because they just cannot get out of their own way. But if Podkolzin and Savoy can play top 6 minutes and Szymanski can be a third line center, they're solving problems inexpensively. And here's what's going to happen. We see it and we don't want to acknowledge it. But they're not going to be able to trade all of these no movement clauses as these players erode and are unable to play on the skill lines. So they're going to have to check down to the third line and below. And you're going to need guys like Podkolzin and Savoy to be able to replace them. And that's what's happening. But a guy like Szymanski who could play third line center, you don't have to go out and get a guy. Remember when they went out and got Henrique? And before that, all the other third line centers they were getting because they had to fill in. What if they get a kid who's like, Ryan McLeod's age when they traded him, and didn't cost him anything in terms of draft? What if he could do that? And I think Szymanski might be the guy. 60% goal share away from McDavid and Draisaitl at 5-on-5, and it's a growing number of minutes, 137 minutes. I hate to like old man Matthew, but that is something. And I didn't mean Matthew, the name. I meant Matthew, as in math, and then the word you. Okay. All right. It's 12:14. I wanted to ask you, Declan, you were at a media avail. I'm wondering about the Elks. I read some of your tweets. I'm always interested in the quarterback position because my understanding is it's pretty important to football. Where are the Elks at? And how do you feel about the media avail today and what they were talking about?
Yeah, it was great. For anyone who didn't know, the Combine obviously is going to get going this weekend. So this was a league-wide media avail, like all the, coaches, all the GMs of all the different teams, or coaches, GMs of all the different teams in the league, however it was going to break out. But yeah, the Elks had one at 10:30, and Ed was just kind of asked about the signing of Taylor Powell and what that meant for the club. And he had said, I'll read what I had tweeted out here. He said, when we signed him, we felt like we had the potential to we felt like he had the potential to be a starter in this league. When a guy, he was referencing Cody Fajardo here, starts talking about retirement, he's halfway there. So Taylor Powell was a guy. I remember during free agency, 3 Down Nation, they kind of pegged him as the one free agent quarterback who had franchise quarterback potential. I've never felt that way watching him from afar. I've kind of made the point on Elks Nation before. He's never really popped at any level. But clearly Ed, feels this way about Taylor Powell. And yeah, Cody Fajardo, as much as we like him and as much as what he did last year, that was great for the club. He is older, on a 1-year contract, said himself he was about 70%, going to retire. And when a guy starts having those conversations and it's in the back of their mind, like the team needs a contingency plan, and it feels like they have one in Taylor Powell. So it was kind of cool to hear Ed break it down in that sense. But a lot of good stuff from the presser.
What is your opinion of Powell? What is he? How mobile is he? Can he make that long throw, like the throw that kills every Canadian quarterback or every quarterback who comes into the league?
Yeah, he's a pocket passer with a good arm. But like his numbers have never been great at any level. The 23 season when he played the most, he had to leave due to a concussion, obviously backed up both since then. But just the point I made, like he's never really popped at any level. Like I think his best college season was like 13 touchdowns and 5 picks or something like that. Like at the CFL level, he kind of has that 1-to-1 TD pick ratio. Like he's got arm talent there for sure. And again, I want to be clear, like I've watched him from afar. I'm not, I don't work for Ticats Nation, right? Like it's a little bit different when you're watching this guy on the game film or when you're watching highlights, or as opposed to being in the locker room and being close to him. But he's just a guy who I don't want to say he's limited in his skill set because he fits the Cody Fajardo mold as a backup, which is what you want if he has to come into the game. But I just don't view him with that top end ability.
March Madness tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
How are you liking it? How do you like the setup? Who do you like?
It's awesome. I mean, my Final Four is still alive, isn't it? So I guess I got to roll with that. Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Houston. I'm not going to get away from it now. Florida losing was very cool. That Iowa-Nebraska game, like there have been some jokes out there that it's going to look like a Balkan soccer game and that the UN is going to have to deploy peacekeepers to keep Iowa-Nebraska fans apart. Listen, the tournament's so fun. I love the tournament. I love constant basketball. It's been a phenomenal tournament so far. I've touched on this. Like the upsets aren't, running amok or anything like that, but the actual games have been really incredible, and they're only going to get better as the teams playing each other get better. So I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, look forward to that. Okay, we have rumors on the way. Declinations at 140. What's shaking on declinations today?
Yeah, so we're dunking with Declan, we're jamming with Josh, and we're making.
You're trying to make a Canadian not be the MVP, is what you're doing. I heard that yesterday.
Yeah, like what's crazy? I have a rip in my pants. I just discovered. Whoopsies.
Are we going blue all of a sudden?
No, stop that. Shea is amazing. I think I have him third or fourth on my ballot. That's it. That's all it is. He's amazing. Okay. He's incredible. I think I have him third or fourth on my ballot.
When did we go OnlyFans on this show? Come on now.
What are you talking about?
You got to rip
in your pants. Know what that is, by the way. I'm supposed to go to dinner after the work today.
I'm a person. I read. All right, we also have
like and subscribe. Okay,
Kevin, I don't subscribe to any of that. Kevin McCurdy on the way at 1:00. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more. This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 12:21. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Truck Month. Check them out. WolfGMCBuick.com. And by the way, thank you, Declan, for playing what might be my favorite song. Man, I love that. So good. That and Powderfinger by Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Maybe Toppling Dice by the Rolling Stones. Yep, that's about it. Maybe Tommy Hunter song or two, but that's about right. It's time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. We believe you should create your own electricity. Let's build a brighter, sustainable future with GreatCanadianSolar.com. A few items from last night. One of the things that we're really noticing about this Edmonton Oilers team under Stan Bowman is they're getting players who have a rugged edge on the third and fourth lines. We're seeing Jones play on the fourth line right now. And he scored a really good goal the other night, but he can play and he can skate. And they've done that a little bit. That they did that with Doc. They're trying to get a little more oomph and gumption in that fourth line. I think that's what you're going to see during the playoffs. And the idea is you get guys who can actually play, and that means be responsible defensively. I think Jones might be that guy. I know he's going to have competition. I know Doc is out there. We'll see how the lines look when everybody's healthy. Somebody's moving down, right? One player who I thought was a little bit on the struggle bus was Kasperi Kapanen. I like the Dickinson line. I like Szymanski on that line. I actually like Szymanski at center, but I think Kapanen is a guy who misses Leon Draisaitl a little bit. It's interesting to me that Vasily Podkolzin's game seems to have gone one way since Leon went down. And Kapanen, who's had some injury issues, so let's be fair here. Let's not dump on him. But not that you are, but I am. I think that might be a consideration here as we move forward because there's going to be good players who are healthy scratched, and he might be one of them. The Toronto Maple Leafs they have a log jam in goal, and they reassigned Dennis Hildeby today. And the reason I bring him up is if they ever want to trade him or move him on down the line, the Edmonton Oilers should be very interested in him. He's got a .912 save percentage in 19 games with Toronto this year. He's 6'7", 231. He's like a giant fellow. And I don't know what the Oilers are doing in the goal department for the summertime, but he'd be a guy who I noticed him a couple of years ago. And I still think, his career has barely started, but sometimes Toronto fumbles the ball, man. They just do. When it comes to goaltenders. Not Paul Harrison, they kept him forever, but other guys that they let go too early. And this fellow might be one of them. And we'll see as that rolls along. We were talking about the Stretchy Pants Pacific yesterday, and last night they went out and proved it. I mean, Anaheim won, Edmonton won, but everybody was either like a Bettman or losing straight out. And man, it's there. Anaheim is, I think, going to win the division now, which if you're, say, a fan of the Edmonton Oilers or Vegas Golden Knights, that's a travesty. But in Vegas, and we're going to see them next if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, their goaltending is shoddy. Used to be a word you used on goaltending. And it's very rare that goaltending is so bad that you could call it shoddy in the modern era. Vegas qualifies. I don't know what they're going to do, but man, they're bleeding right now, and they're burning daylight on this season. So we'll see how it goes. Major League Baseball opening night for two teams, San Francisco and the Yankees, today. And then tomorrow, everybody just takes off. Everybody's playing. It's going to be what traditionally looks like opening day. If you're a baseball fan, there is nothing like it. You remember last week when we were talking to Declan, and he'd say things like, yeah, that's a really good point. I concur. And he had no idea what anybody was talking about. That will be me. And I'm not sure about Josh and Mackenzie. I don't know what their level of fandom is in terms of baseball. But for me tomorrow, if there's a game on the television while I'm doing the broadcast, chances are I will have somewhat delayed reaction to anything anybody else says. And there may be like pockets of JMO pauses because of the baseball and the opening day of Major League Baseball. It is going to be a blast. I cannot wait. The Blue Jays, by the way, DFA Leo Jimenez, he just got run over by other prospects in a pretty talented system. We'll see what happens there. They may end up moving him, or he could end up going down to the minors. There's lots of players being designated for assignment today. Some young players I've never heard of making the team. There's 30 different teams, and there's a lot of roster. And so it's going to be fun at the end of today because they all got to be cut down by the end of today to see exactly what's going on here. It's a blast. Anything happening NFL-wise that we can talk about like it's something real, or is it all just getting their money down and looking forward to the draft, Declan?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously it's kind of a league that's pretty fluid and always making moves, but I don't think there's anything too pressing right now that we haven't already talked about or that hasn't already been covered in the last couple of days. Like obviously, right now it's kind of crunch time for a lot of teams and a lot of general managers ahead of the draft. Obviously, like a lot of teams are in a situation where you can't really afford to miss again. Like the Raiders kind of find themselves there, or I don't want to say can't miss again, but just can't miss, don't want to miss. Like the Raiders are probably there. I think the Cardinals are there with their quarterback situation. Like you look at the Jets and what they've kind of been the last couple of years, like they need to make a splash. So yeah, it's gearing up for that. It's getting ready. It's yeah.
Well, the teams like the Raiders and the Jets are so bad. They're probably playing, their schedules must be like the easiest on the planet.
Yeah, they'll be favorable. Like, I mean, we saw New England benefit from that greatly last year. Like they had their opponent's win percentage was like 370 combined over a 17-game season, like historically low. I actually don't have numbers behind that. I don't know if it's historically low. Don't quote me on that. But my point being is that, yeah, like these teams that can get a real game changer and difference maker early in the draft, combined with how easy their schedule is going to be, like that is a very, very fortunate position to be in.
Why was Jalen Hurts taking some hits in the fantasy frenzy today? What was going on there, Josh?
Well, I forget what
it was the flag football.
No, we're not talking about flag football.
Ooh.
I forget what it was they were talking about. But I just started shaking my head when they said Jalen Hurts. I was like, nah.
Well, did you see him throwing all those picks in the flag football tournament there?
It's flag football.
Well, yeah. I know who's not going to the Olympics.
I'm saying that it was a showcase spot for them, and he was throwing.
Oh, come on!
You know who looked,
seriously?
Who looked really good?
I'd rather watch quarterbacks throw it through a tire.
Like, I'm telling you, like what it was is they were playing. It was a bunch of NFL All-Stars playing against a flag football team, and they lost.
What rules were they playing, Declan?
It was flag football.
Flag football. Okay, so there you go.
Yeah, obviously
it's not real football.
It's about to be an Olympic sport.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an Olympic sport.
Oh, my. Look, if there's two flag football teams playing against each other, that's a competition. But these are NFL players.
Yeah, and they lost. Like, I can't believe you're being so cavalier about this.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
What? So, like, if
they should have better accuracy and arm talent and instincts to beat a flag football team, and they did not.
I watch the combine and I watch pro days because I love it when the quarterback is just dropping it like he's Peyton Manning. I love that, and I admit fully that the Eagles quarterback is not at that because I don't think he's 100%. Having said all that, I'm not going to crush him over a flag football game.
Well, it's still football. It's not like they went to play basketball.
You have got to be kidding me.
No, I can't believe
let's run the video of your guy running down the field and fumbling during a playoff game. They lost.
Yeah, I can't even believe your stance on this, man. Like, this is insane. They're playing football and they lost to a flag football team. Like, they're in the NFL.
Yeah, I
can't believe we're even having
very comfortable with my stance about that. I mean, come on.
That's
like, can he open up
You're just wrong.
A tuna can, flag football. Oh my God. That's so good. Oh man. I think it's a little bit of jealousy about Hurts winning the Super Bowl now. If you guys are bringing up flag football. That's so bad.
We're just talking about his skill.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. And there's so much in common with the two sports. Let's talk NBA. You guys, which one of you doesn't want the Canadian to win the MVP? Is that you, Declan?
I don't think he should. I don't think he's the MVP.
Wow. Here's HVAC Nick, not shocked. It's Team USA flag football. The field and rules are so different, like multiple QBs on the field, so many trick plays. I know, but we're making a big deal about it because it's Hurts. And this particular show, despite the presence of Mackenzie and myself, is not pro Hurts.
I wouldn't exactly say it's pro Eagles, but
everything that team has accomplished has been in spite of him, not because of him. Like, seriously. Like, I'm sorry. I'm serious.
Well, I mean, Nick Foles was the quarterback on the first time they won the Super Bowl, so I will give you that one. It's okay. The great thing about watching him win the Super Bowl is that's a memory I'll have forever.
It's true. That banner will hang forever. Like, he will. It's true. I'm not even hating. Like, that's absolutely correct. He will always have that, and he will always be a champion. Josh Allen probably won't be. Like, I'm never going to take that away from him. But,
Cam says if it was retired NFL or some present, and if I think they tried 100%, you're fooled easily, LMAO. Those games mean literally nothing and hold 0 weight. I know, but they're making a big deal about it.
So you think they just lost on purpose? Like, that optically, that's such a horrible look for them. Like,
I know. It's really bad. Do you think they'll get released?
It's pretty, like, let me flip it like this. Like, what if
maybe prison?
What if, like, a bunch of NHLers went to play, like,
you guys are
Tyler Yaremchuk's
you guys are
team.
So far off the grid right now with this argument that you're making.
I'm
embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed.
Well,
for you.
Hate, like, you don't really follow football the same way we do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't.
You know what I know, though, is when a quarterback who's supposed to be the greatest running down the field in a playoff game drops the ball. That's a big deal.
He's got a lot of warts, man. I was the first to crush him for the 4 turnovers this past playoffs. I've been very quick to crush him for never elevating his level or getting out of a conference.
But you know what? I bet he's great at flag football.
He's probably better than Jalen Hurts.
He's better than Jalen Hurts.
There's a brag.
A lot of things.
Wow, so good.
I just like, it's like, let me just
all the conversations we've had, of all the things you've picked to argue about, this is like. Oh my God.
Let me take away everything else for a second and just ask you this. Like, you don't think optically it looks bad if NFL athletes, the best football league in the world, like, make $1 billion a week. You don't think it looks bad if they lose to a bunch of gym teachers in a football game?
No, I don't. Not when it's flag football, and not when it's the off season, and not that I didn't watch the game. I don't know what it's about. I don't think that. Do you honestly think this is going to impact any of the NFL teams because a flag football game was lost?
No, but I think it's bad. Like, let me ask you this. Sorry, I meant to ask this, and I didn't get a chance. We kind of went a different direction. Like, what if Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, and Zach Werenski, and Andrei Vasilevsky played a ball hockey game against 5, like I said, gym teachers who kind of do this in their spare time for fun. You don't think that would optically look bad for the NHL?
Not at all.
Really?
No, they used to do this. The Hockey News used to have all these stories all summer about guys playing summer ball and having fun. And I think most people look at it as just like that. It's like a big rave up. Nobody, if you're taking that seriously, what are we even doing here? Why do the combine? Just have them play flag football.
The reason it's been taken seriously is because NFL players, obviously, they want to be able to represent the U.S. in the Olympics. And the flag football community kind of came out and said, no, like, this is our sport. Like, we're not just going to let you take it over.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many times did these NFL players practice?
Like, they're in the NFL, so I'm sure they're staying busy during the offseason.
So they're practicing flag football like
it's like
7 or 8 times a day.
The motion is the same. Like, the throwing of the ball, the catching of the ball is the same. Like, the routes you run are the same. Like, the way your hands work, the way your hips move, it's all the same.
This is among the most ridiculous arguments we've had on this show. I have to say, it just is beyond me that this is being regarded. Are people really regarding this as important? Like,
I wouldn't say,
is Philadelphia radio talking about releasing Jalen Hurts because of a flag football game?
I wouldn't say it's important, but I certainly think, like, when you
it's important to you then.
No, because the thing was, this is what
it's not important to me.
this is what I was saying. Like Team USA, the Olympic players said, hey, like we want to represent America at the Olympics in flag football. And the flag football community kind of said like, no, like
it's our sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then this was a chance for the NFL players to, showcase their ability and said, no, we are going to be there. And they went out and they kind of fumbled the bag. And like, I guess we just disagree on this, but quite frankly, I just think it's optically terrible if you are NFL players losing a football event. That's kind of where I come out on it.
Well, I would like to see some NHLers play field hockey in the summertime and see how they do, I mean, I don't know how many times they'd have to practice to be very good, but we could find out.
The difference between field hockey and hockey is far different than
field
football. Regular hockey and ball hockey.
Right.
No, come on. You got to give us that. Like it is like flag football.
It's an entirely different
giving
stick
you
with
nothing
field
on
hockey.
Yeah, like
and not only am I giving you nothing on this, it is a farcical argument.
I have to disagree.
Well, that's okay. That's part of the show.
Yeah, what can I say?
But for me, I can't believe we spent at least 5 minutes talking about this when in actuality we could have been talking about other things.
I know. Okay, one final thing to wrap it up then, because like you said, we've gone very long on this. And you know what? I just forgot what I was going to say, so I guess forget it.
It's okay.
No,
at some point in time, let's come back to talk about the NVB in the NBA, which I think is a more important conversation than the one.
Well, we got Duncan with Declan at 140.
Okay, sounds good. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
It's truck.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. We have Husk saying, LT, any advice? First-timer joining Fantasy Frenzy baseball draft. Know the rules. That would be the key for me. There are so many different versions of it. Is it a 12-team? Is it a 15-team? What are the categories? You can go to Fangraphs and customize your rules, and they'll spit out the list of players. I always like to go heavy hitters first, and then I do value pitching, but I probably would have 4 or 5 hitters before I went pitching, and good luck. You'll know a lot more about it in year 2 than you do year 1, and it's a blast. And I've done auctions and just drafting, like snake draft, and they're both a lot of fun. If you can be with people in the league, though, and draft, that's the best. It truly is, because you build up real animosity and anger and rage. And that's what sports is all about. Oh, dear. I actually was away from fantasy baseball forever, and I've just come back in the last couple of years, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Enjoying it way too much, actually. Honestly, way too much. Al, I saw Bruce Kurlock tweeting some Ty Henderson stats this morning, saying he's second pair right D in his future next season. Do you think that's realistic? Here's what I will say is that the numbers that I've seen over the years often will favor a third pairing guy. And I go to Puck IQ, because Puck IQ tells you how many minutes a particular player is spending against elite competition. So back in the olden days, when I would read these, like, really smart people were putting together the analytics that we now use on an everyday basis, like Tyler Dello and Tim Barnes, and the Puck IQ people are all truly brilliant. So if you go to Puck IQ and you highlight defensemen and then look only at elites, and then you want to have percentage of time on ice versus elites, the Oilers are, Connor Murphy's been here 10 games. He's at 42%. He's playing a lot against elites. And that means that Darnell Nurse is too, because he's playing alongside him. And then it's Matthias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, Troy Stetcher for his 6 games, and then Regula, and way down the list at 25% is Ty Emberson. So he's not currently in that situation. So anything that we're looking at in terms of the numbers now that Ty Emberson is playing are likely more often than not against mid or lower level opposition. For him to be able to step up wouldn't be a shock to me. But on this team, right now, they don't need him to do that. And what I will say, we've talked about this with Jason Gregor over the last while. What I would say is this: he's getting better. He's taken a step forward. So I would never bet against him, but I would suggest respectively, and Kurlock knows this stuff, I would suggest respectfully that when we're talking about this year, we're likely talking about softer minutes, and the big test would be if they ever tried him on the second pair, and that would be more audition than handing him the job. I don't think it'll happen. I think he'll be third pair next year. But he's certainly a player of value to this organization, and I really enjoy his game. What I enjoy is, for me, sports is playing along at home. Like I like to see a team build, and then when they win a champ, like the Eagles, for instance, we were just talking about them. For me, the Eagles were when Howie Roseman got there, they were building, they were getting better, and they were changing coaches, but not often. And you kind of felt like they were going in a good direction. And then they brought in, was it Chip Kelly? And then everything went sideways. The Roseman was, he checked down to a lesser job. Kelly was telling, everybody what to do. They said goodbye to some wonderful veterans. I think that's when Shady McCoy left. Very angry, real mad for me. But then they brought Howie back. Howie got to draft again, and they got really, really good, and they won 2 Super Bowls. And so I loved watching, and I'm not like a football guy like these guys are, but I can watch that, and I can enjoy it, and I can see how much time they spent on the lines. They drafted heavily on the lines because that's so important. And they're, the last pieces were, depending upon which edition of the Eagles that won the Super Bowl you're talking about. They were some of the skill guys, but also some of the DBs, but the lines were taken care of, and your rush ends and all of that were like they were doubled down on them. They had guys who could come in rested and do it, and I loved watching how Howie built that team. Well, I feel the same way about the Oilers. And for the Oilers, I mentioned in the first segment, for the Oilers to have Savoy and Podkolzin stepping up, Szymanski, but you could include Emberson on the defensive side. Man, that's huge because those are 4 guys who are probably going to make less than 10 mil next year. And you need that because you've already committed to so many no movement clauses. If the Edmonton Oilers ever win the Stanley Cup, they're going to have a pile of value contracts like Emberson, like Savoy, like Podkolzin, and like Szymanski. They have to, because those guys are what's going to happen here is Podkolzin is going to play ahead of some of the veterans in terms of the depth chart, and he's going to be making way less, and he's not going to have a no movement clause. That's the way it's going to have to be, because once a player erodes and you can't trade him, you can't buy out everybody, and that's where the Oilers are. That's the position they're in. So guys like Emberson are vitally important, and if he can play second pair, that would be huge for the Oilers. I just don't know that you can count on that. You might want to try it, but that's different. Chip Kelly, worst Eagles coach in history. Kodite. I'd have to look, but yeah, I did not like him. I didn't like him because on the face of it, what he was talking about was we're going to go down, we're going to score right away, and we're going to just we're going to surprise them, and then it's going to take 8 seconds, and then the defense spent the whole day on the field. Of course, they were going to lose. It was flawed premise, and watching it was like it was diabolical. It just was. It was so embarrassing. Anyway, they turned it around and they won Super Bowls. Been doing an in-person draft fantasy hockey league, same group since 1996. Nothing beats it. My dear friend Bruce McCurdy was in a hockey fantasy league for years and years and years. I mean, like I'm talking decades. And when he would talk about that was among the most animated conversations, along with King Crimson, Robert Fripp, most animated conversations we ever had. It's not necessarily about the nerd drafting, which is also fun. It's about the camaraderie, I think. And when you meet in person, young Donovan is going to be joining the ERL Edmonton Rotisserie League this weekend. I was in that league for many years, won twice, paid for my deck with one of the winnings, and it was a blast. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was an absolute blast. New drinking game. Every time LT says something negative about the no movement clause, drink. You'd be drunk by 1. Let me tell you. I hate it, man. This is from Ontario Moms. LT not winning the Stanley Cup with those 2 opportunities was crushing to player value. NMCs wouldn't matter as much if they'd won and players were from a winning team. For example, Tampa, they always find a way to move players because they won. People want winners. People will take risks for winners. Well, but the Oilers, they do it to themselves, and I mean, not to go back to this, but the last 2 falls, the coaching staff has done everything they could to bury the guys that were signed on July 1st. And that's why I said earlier this year, what the Edmonton Oilers should do, if you're Daryl Cates, is tell your GM you're fired if you sign anybody on July 1. Because there's no use signing these cats if the coach doesn't like them. The big free agent signing this year was Jack Roslovic, and he was signed on the first day of the regular season. Right? And Andrew Mangiapane, man, he had like 8 seconds on a skill line. They didn't like him. So why bother? Why bother putting yourself in that position? Don't do it. Either give it to a kid or sign a Roslovic on, October 10th or whatever the first day of the season is. You can get mad at me about that, but I'm right. The Edmonton Oilers sign guys July 1st. Everybody says the right thing, and then the coach doesn't like them. Tell me I'm wrong. 2 days before the start of the season, 2 days before the start of the regular season, Coach Chris Knobloch says, yeah, we're going to play Draisaitl and McDavid together on the same line. When everybody agreed, when you have them on separate lines, it's a better idea. When we talk about what went wrong with this season, when we go back at the end of the year and we look at all of the missteps that happened, that's going to be one of the major ones. What in HE double hockey sticks are you doing signing free agent wingers and bringing them in here if you have no plan to play them with McDavid or Draisaitl? And look, I'm all for it. If you want to trade for Matthew Savoy and Vasily Podkolzin and have coach those guys up and have them play with McDavid, giddy up. I'm all over that. I think that's a better plan because you're going to have them at a less expensive price for longer. And that makes complete sense. What doesn't make sense is blowing the entire budget on July 1 with no movement clauses, drink, and then not playing the guys in the roles that you think that they should play. I mean, honest to God, who would do that time and again? 2 years in a row now. And if I'm Daryl Cates, I just say we're not showing up on July 1. We're not doing it. Let's wait till July 4th. And everybody can have a panic. Don't care, because the bottom line is it's like when you buy something for somebody and they don't use it. That's what it is. They don't value it. The Oilers coaching staff didn't value the July 1st signings. You can't tell me that at the end of training camp, they decided all of a sudden, we're going to go ahead and do this. And so, Jeff Skinner the year before that, Mangiapane this past year. How many more July 1st are you going to do like that? Just don't do it. Trade for Podkolzin. Trade for Matt Savoy. Trade for those cats. Sign another Josh Szymanski. Hell, boys, sign a college guy. You can do that today. It's a way better plan than what they've been doing on July 1st the last few years. And that does really irritate me because it's such a waste. It really is. I think taking these guys for cheap on show me contracts, sign them max full deal NMCs, and then you're stuck with them. But that's the problem, Stu. We've got that right now with Roslovic and maybe with Dickinson and maybe with Murphy. The Edmonton Oilers do this, and you can say, well, it's because it's a smaller market. It's not a small market. It's a huge damn market. They've been in the Stanley Cup Finals the last 2 years. I reject the idea that the Edmonton Oilers or any really Canadian team that is doing well, because they fill the damn barn at expensive prices. They drive the wealth of the NHL. The Edmonton Oilers do. You can look it up. It's a rich damn team. And when Daryl Cates sell it, it's going to be a profit that you will not believe. So it has real value. And the Edmonton Oilers have value because they're close to winning a Stanley Cup. So stop treating everything like you got to do a favor to every 32-year-old guy coming down the pipe. To hell with that noise. Get Podkolzin again. Get another Savoy. Because those guys are young. Look at the legs on those kids. Savoy is fast. McDavid keeps getting faster. I don't know what the hell he's doing. But if you go on NHL Edge and you look at that last year and this year, McDavid is actually faster, like later in his career. He's like late 20s now. I don't know what. He must work out like a demon. He must be in the gym with Declan all the time. Got to be. Because you can't do that. Ordinarily, as you age, you get slower. Trust me on that one. No, that's one of the things that really, in terms of team building of the Edmonton Oilers, I just think they got lazy. They got real lazy and just said, well, we'll go July 1st and we'll sign. We need this guy and this guy. We need a winger. We need a center. We need a tough defense. We'll get them all in free agency, and then we'll trade the draft picks for whatever else we want. And Bowman is having to work his ass off to get players, and he's done it with guys like Szymanski. I will give him credit, and I'll give him credit for the Podkolzin trade, and I'll even give Jeff Jackson credit for the Matthew Savoy trade, which has really worked out, even though people didn't like it at the time. All right, it's 12:55. On the way, we'll talk to Kevin McCurdy about these young players that maybe you can get excited about, like Emberson and Matthew Savoy and Podkolzin. And don't forget, we have declinations coming up at 1:40 as well. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors Inc. Floors done right for homes or for businesses. Visit the new showroom, 11577 149th Street, open 6 days a week, Saturday hours from 10 to 2. And of course, you can visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. News around the sporting world as the NBA has voted to explore Las Vegas and Seattle expansion bids for the league, bringing it up to 32 teams. Evgeny Malkin is day-to-day not traveling with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and in the NHL, 2 games today, both getting going at 5:30, Boston and Buffalo, and New York and Toronto. NBA schedule actually gets going with 3 games at 5 o'clock, the Hawks and the Detroit Pistons, the LA Lakers and the Indiana Pacers, and the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers. The late game in the league tonight will see the Toronto Raptors in LA to take on the Clippers. And of course, MLB opening day, Yankees and Giants at 6:05 on Netflix. And it will be Fried and Webb on the mound in that one. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy, because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back, your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off, let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
This ad is presented by the United Conservative Caucus. The new Alberta-Ottawa energy deal will significantly expand Alberta's oil and gas production and create thousands of jobs, thanks to the leadership of Alberta's United Conservative MLAs. The consumer carbon tax is gone, the oil and gas production cap is eliminated, and the net zero electricity regulations are over. Let's keep Alberta strong and free. Visit unitedconservativecaucus.ca/surveys.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month featuring their best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. All right, we're into hour number 2, just ahead of Kevin McCurdy. After last night's game, I imagine that we're going to have a nice, positive conversation. But I'm going to start it by asking, first of all, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Alan.
So I've been talking all year about the floor and the ceiling. And the Oilers' ceiling is pretty damn good. I thought they played a hell of a game against a good Mammoth team. I'm not saying they're Tampa Bay or Florida, but they're good. And they've won some games recently against Dallas, Vegas, others. So why are the Oilers incapable of repeating that kind of game where they're blocking shots, making good outlet passes, and playing a more responsible game? And I know we're going to see another dud here in the next while. And I maybe it's the schedule. I don't know. But what do you think the reasons are the Edmonton Oilers are so wildly inconsistent for a veteran team?
If I had the answers to that, I'd probably give them to the team, to be honest with you, because I don't think they even know. This is definitely not the consistency history that we've seen from the Oilers year over year. And what I mean by that is in previous seasons, you'd see them go on big long runs, right? Like, sometimes 5, 10, 15 games even runs where they were just unstoppable. And they just haven't been able to put that together. Last night was a first step in the right direction for sure. That was an exceptional hockey game from the moment the puck dropped. I was very impressed with their work along the boards. They played some excellent cycle hockey. Emerson's breakout pass to Wallman to, pretty behind the pack pass to Roslovic for a snipe. That was a beauty goal. Great rush opportunity for them. Overall, if they can figure out how to string some of these together reliably, this is a formidable hockey team to play against, even now. But I just don't quite understand why they've been inconsistent. I think it's more of a maybe a mental, amount of hockey thing than anything else.
I loved a lot of the outlets last night, and my theory is that any team playing defense as much as the Oilers have recently is going to struggle. I don't care about the goaltending or the defenders or closing gaps. If you're playing without the puck in your own zone, bad things are going to happen. We know this, and the quickest way to get rid of that is to have effective outlet passes. And I just feel like the Oilers have been very predictable in this way. There is a little light at the end of the tunnel. Before the 2 losses to the Florida teams, in both of the bookend games, they were starting to use the middle of the ice a little more and having the forward come down, usually the center, and grab the puck and then, head north to the neutral zone. Do you sense that there's finally a recognition that they're too predictable and they don't have to abandon everything that they want to do, but they need to do something else to throw a wrinkle at the other team?
I think there's some recognition there for sure. The other thing that I think I've noticed is that this team has not been fast enough on pucks pretty much all year. This is a team that is not as fast as it was previously. And I know that, there's some edge statistics that say that that's not necessarily true, but visually to me, there've been a lot of games this season where I felt like the Oilers have been a step behind, and whether that's just care factor or whether that's an actual just decrease in capability, I'm not quite sure. But last night they were, I'll use Matt Savoy as the first and foremost example. He was a monster for, for the little guy that he is. He was first to every single puck. They were winning every puck battle against a team that is considered to be one of the fastest in the league. So that capability is there. It's just a matter of them continually and consistency applying it from here on out.
So, and I mean, I agree with you totally. And we talked about it earlier in this show about the idea that there's a little bit of a changing of the guard here. Savoy and Podkolzin playing pretty well with McDavid. And I do think it's a faster line. Obviously, Nugent Hopkins and Hyman checked down to the second line, and they were brilliant. Roslovic scoring a couple of goals. Do you think that when Draisaitl gets back here, we may see a little flip here away from the traditional Nuge Hyman with McDavid, and maybe some of that younger group like Savoy, who's been playing there more often, quite frankly. So it's sort of happened before the Draisaitl injury too. Do you think we'll see that more often because they are getting to pucks quicker and spending more time in the offensive zone, wheeling around the wall?
Yeah, I think to be quite honest with you, I would be surprised if Matt Savoy left McDavid's wing anytime soon. I think if Leon, we get to the point that Leon's back and playing hockey for us this season, that in all likelihood, Vasily Podkolzin will end up back with him. I have to pull the statistics, but I'm looking at one of them in front of me right now. And, in 27 minutes of time on ice, for Vasily Podkolzin, McDavid, and Savoy, they're running 100% actual goal share and 71% expected goal share and over 60% Corsi. Like that's not just like marginal. That's outright domination when that line is on the ice. And yeah, McDavid's a big part of that, but boy is the supporting cast helping him right now on that front. And we've seen, in some cases, we've seen Nuge slip a little bit this year, and fantastic to see him get his milestone last night and Connor to get his own milestones, and Bouchard also with his 82-point season, a milestone of his own. So it was a pretty adventure-packed night overall. But that top line is formidable right now, and unless there's a reason to change it because something's not happening, I don't think that they should.
It's such an interesting team right now because there are young players. We've talked about, Podkolzin has arrived and he's not coming out of the lineup. Savoy has established himself. Ty Emberson is a player who I thought has really worked better along the wall here and is doing a lot of things. He's healthy, but that helps. But that's helping as well. And then Josh Szymanski, who I still think looks better at center, but he certainly plays well on the wing as well. That's a core of like 4 players who are on value contracts and young. And it's painful. Growing pains are painful, but you're replacing some older players with some younger. How do you feel about that group moving forward? Podkolzin, Savoy, Szymanski, and then Emberson on the back line.
Fantastic. Emberson has really become one of the Oilers' best defensemen from a purely defensive standpoint. I think he's ready for second pairing duties next season. I think there's a very good chance you'll see that Ekholm and Bouchard and Wallman and Emberson are your top 4 defensemen next year. I don't know what the future holds for Jason Dickinson or Connor Murphy, but this team needs to continue to find value contracts for itself, even with the salary cap going up. So signing these guys potentially to renewals at fairly hefty contract extensions. Man, Szymanski is showing all of the hallmarks of being a phenomenal third line center. Like, let's celebrate the value contract that's sitting in front of us right now and give him a shot to actually be what I think he can be. These guys are showing all the capabilities that they need to be part of this lineup full time for the foreseeable future, and plugging it up with veterans that are, I recognize that we just traded for these guys, and this is no slight against them, but we got to find some value in our roster from a cap perspective, and there's a lot of value to be had based on the 4 people that you just talked about.
And it's as we go on now, and I think we're seeing just the tip of the the tipping point now. Some of the older veterans are going to have to move off of the skill lines because of age and foot speed, and the hands go a little bit. And it's nice to have some options there. But if Szymanski could fill the third line center role, they've spent a lot of assets on that. Adam Henrique would be an example, but there are others in recent years. I think Kesselring was a victim of a trade that brought in, a lot has been spent there. If Szymanski could be the third line center with just for money out of the German league, that's a home run, right?
Absolutely. That's not even a home run. That's a grand slam as far as what we've spent to get here. We've gone through Bugstad, Adam Henrique's here playing in the fourth line center role right now. There's been, with the last semi-reliable third line center that we had with any consistency was Ryan McLeod, and that was several years ago now. So if Szymanski can jump up and play that role as a new to the league up and comer, and the other thing about Szymanski's play, and I want to just put a pin in this for a second, is he will sacrifice offense a little bit to play defense. And that is such an and not only that, he does it so well that it doesn't actually sacrifice that much offense. I saw a couple of plays last night where his teammates made horrendous passes to him that would have been, in other circumstances, really not good outcomes. But he sold heaven and earth to make the puck still get out of the zone, or to snag a puck that was an errant pass that was going the wrong direction, that had every possibility of starting to rush the other, and he would sell everything out in order to make that play disappear. And that's not something you can really buy. That's something you scout and you develop. And this player is legit from where I'm sitting at right now.
It's not everybody can succeed, and when Draisaitl left the lineup, I feel like Podkolzin's gone one way and Kasperi Kapanen has gone another, which may not be fair because he's been injured and he may well be just ramping up now. But I felt like in the last few games that Kapanen blooms off the rose a little bit here. And he was picked up on waivers, so he has been money since he got here a couple of years ago. What's your thoughts on Kapanen's game the last little while?
I really like Kasperi Kapanen. He's one of those players that feeds off of this fan base and off of this environment, and those are a rare breed. There's a few notable historical mentions like, Klim Kostin and Connor Brown, people that really just feed off the environment that it is here. I think he has a lot of upside, and I think he respects the fact that we've given him a chance when his career was in serious trouble. I have noticed some struggles. There's been some, I think Bruce Kurlock put it that, he understands, it's visible why Kapanen has been a waiver claim in the past couple of games, I think is how he put it. But, overall, I think as long as he is a value contract, I think there's not a lot of reason that we shouldn't keep Kapanen around. He's got some stuff going on in his personal life too, with new kids and whatnot. So that always makes things complicated at a professional hockey level. And I think, he's a really intense guy, and I think he brings what he can, and he's definitely struggled with injuries this year. So aside from some recent struggles, given the value of his contract, I think a little bit of slack is fine for him.
Yeah, and he also plays a style, lumber in there, tie up the defenseman, make it a 50-50, contest for the puck, and then you can get possession and move along. And if you've got guys who can do that, and Kapanen can, that can be a huge advantage. A final question for you, Kevin. The Pacific Division is I call it the baggy pants division, but we stretchy pants. But we also have the pillow fight that Connor McDavid described. Watching last night, it became clear to me the Oilers were going to get at least a point, probably a couple. Anaheim did as well. But it is a death valley for points. Even Bettmans are hard to get in this Pacific Division. What happened to this division, man?
I don't know. I really don't know, but it's like watching guys duke it out in a war with cap guns. It's really it's it's pretty bad, to be honest with you, and I'm glad given the struggles that we've had this year that this is our division, because it means that we can still climb out of this mess. Um but man, has the competition gone down a couple notches this year in this division. And I don't know if it's any one specific thing or another, but the biggest thing I think divisionally that we've struggled with is goaltending. Every team has struggled with goaltending to an extent. Maybe not like Seattle, you could make a case that their goaltending is a little bit better, but overall the goaltending has been pretty rancid. You know what, even league wide to an extent. And it's that is actually increasing the overall, like, the average save percentage of the league has gone down several points over the past several years as the shooters get better and faster, and the volume is less and the shots that they do take are more lethal. Quality over quantity, I guess, is the way to put that. But I think just goaltending in the Pacific has been really, really bad this year.
Final one. I lied about the other final one. Tristan Jarry, your take on his game last night?
Pretty good. Very good start. I definitely would agree with Oil and Goals take also on Twitter that we should probably look at starting him next game. It's good. It'd be good for Ingram to have a little bit of a reset with Aubrey for a couple of games, let him work out a couple kinks. And he had a strong enough game that, and given his recent, struggles before this, that now's the time to let him, enjoy his strength game and see if he can build on that and start putting together a number of solid performances in a row.
Kevin McCurdy, really appreciate this. Thank you.
No worries. Have a good week, everyone.
There you go, Kevin McCurdy. Catch him on Twitter, whatever you call it now, X, you young people calling it X. Really good insight into the game, and we appreciate his time. Lots of text coming in. Is there anything on Frederick? Lower body, upper body, timeline? He was just getting going. I agree. Latest is that there's nothing, they're not going to give us anything. It's close enough to playoffs. And even if it wasn't, the teams really don't give a lot of info now. But I felt like he was playing the way I remember him playing in Boston. And that's a very effective game. So I'm sure, like Kapanen, who was highly frustrated, as you'll recall, the very famous throwing of the sticks and all of that when he hit a rut or whatever he did, and he tweaked an injury. I'm sure that Frederick is wildly unhappy about it. Hopefully back in time for the playoffs. Chomsker says it's easy. It's simple. They let in a goal early. They cheat on offense. If they go up early or take the lead before the second, they can play their game. Yeah, when the Oilers are playing their best, they do things that keep the opposition off guard. And by that, I mean, they do dump it in. They place and chase. They run in and they make it a 50-50.
Years ago now.
They get possession that way. And then they also have, like McDavid or whomever, skate the puck through the neutral zone, gain entry, and now you can set up your play. When the Oilers are playing at their best, they use all of the possible wrinkles they have in their arsenal. When they're struggling, they check down from everything. And whenever they're alley-ooping the puck like Chris Russell used to do, trying to hit the score clock to get the puck out of the zone, like they did in the final last year, I know they're screwed, because that's the least creative way to get the puck out, and it comes right back at 100 miles an hour. And when the Oilers are playing well, they use that soft little middle of the ice, and it looks like a dangerous play, but it's not if you consider that everybody is overloading at the blue line or in the neutral zone. If you make that deft pass, let's say Bouchard's doing it from the right side of the net, and it's to McDavid in the high slot, and sure, it's through the slot, but they're not defending that anymore because they know what the Oilers are doing. You are predictable, and that gives you an advantage if you're smart enough to take advantage. And I do not know why it's taken this team this long to do it, but it has. And my theory is it all started when Troy Stetcher got obliterated along the wall against Florida, didn't get the puck out, it ended up in the back of the net. And I think since that day, Chris Knobloch has been coaching in a very specific way, and it's going to be the ruination of him and this team. That's my opinion. I hope they turn it around, because sometimes this team is borderline unwatchable over the last several months, and that's a damn shame because there's so much talent on it. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
This is your moment to come on down and play for your chance to win over $300,000 in prizes. That's not all. Buy more, save more on select major appliances. Up to $1,000 off. Save up to 40% on select mattresses and up to 25% on furniture. Plus, this Saturday, play for up to $1,000 off your purchase. Everyone who plays is a winner. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
No fluff, no fillers, just pure entertainment. Sports 1440 brings the heat with bold opinions, big personalities, and Edmonton's fiercest fans. This is your turf. This is Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
That's 2 minutes for teeth chattering. Freezing on the sidelines again? The Kuma heated chair is a must-have for sports parents who want to cheer in total comfort. From chilly spring mornings to frosty fall evenings, you can finally be warm and comfortable for every game of the season. Shop Kuma Outdoor Gear online and choose from 4 unique models, including one you both can curl up in. Get yours today at KumaOutdoorGear.com.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. We've got declinations just around the corner. Love the B-52s. Love Shack, one of the all-time great sing-alongs, screaming in your car while you're driving down the road. Listening to Love Shack. Very good. Earlier today, we didn't have time for it, but I think we have a little bit of time for it now. And if not, we'll definitely have time during declinations. But it has come to my attention that there are individuals on this show who are not in favor of SGA winning another MVP. And I think Declan for sure, not sure about Josh. And I'd like to just, if we could, I don't want to turn this into the NFL, quarterback thing, but what is the reasoning behind excluding him and just kind of having him step back and not be a part of the inner circle possibles for the MVP?
Yeah, I'll go quickly because I think Josh and Mackenzie are doing something here. And obviously we will talk more about this in declinations. First of all, I would not have him in the inner circle. I think he firmly deserves to be there. And quite bluntly, I'll say this as well. If he does win it, you completely understand why. He is an incredible player. He just, quite frankly, listen, there can only be one MVP, right? They only give one award.
Yeah.
He's not mine. That's really what it comes down to. I think there are more players who are valuable to their team, as good as he is. And I've said, I think he is on pace to have a top 5 guard career ever. And there are probably already some uncomfortable conversations that need to be had about SGA that he is better than your favorite player growing up. But he would not be my MVP this year. Not that he's not in the convo.
So it's not personal, it's business.
It's always business. It's business and it's theatrics. This show, I mean.
All right. Okay. Well, but it has to be, right? Like, we talk for 2 hours about sports. We can't just agree with each other.
No, we have to disagree.
Right.
And that last segment we had was such a perfect organic example of that.
You mean the flag football?
The flag football.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I wasn't totally listening to what you were saying, Declan. I'm trying to teach Mackenzie a new way of doing things. But
are we doing tough love with Mackenzie today?
No, not particularly.
Okay. Well, she says yes.
Well, she's shaking her head, up and down. But
it's been 3 months.
I think it's called learning.
Okay.
And
sure.
She's killing it though. She's
doing really, really well.
Did you tell her about the time that Declan hit
knocked my phone out of my hand?
Yeah, he was very.
He tried to
walks over.
Anyways,
and knocks the phone out of Josh's hand. It was classic comedy.
You're talking about SGA. We're gonna have to start having uncomfortable conversations that he's better than your favorite player growing up.
That was something I brought up. What Lowetide had asked is essentially why is he not the MVP? Why is he not in the inner circle? I just said, look, listen, he's great. There can only be one MVP. He's not my MVP.
Yeah. I think he would make my top 3. If I had a ballot, he'd make my top 3, but he would not be number 1. And this is not me saying that he's not the greatest player in the world, because personally, I think he is. But that's a little bit of home country bias right there.
Okay. So, will you be both be up in arms if he wins it?
I wouldn't be up in arms. I understand the rationale behind it. Best player on the best team, but honestly, of all the argument, it goes back and forth every year in every sport. What does an MVP mean? Is it most valuable to your team? Is it the best player? Is it the best stats? What is it? And so it changes every year. This seems like a year where it's a best stats sort of conversation.
I have my own criteria I've worked out for it.
For me, the way I see it is most valuable to their team.
Because here's the thing, the NHL, they have a defined criteria for the heart. And that defined criteria is exactly that, most valuable to their team. Right. That's right, right? Yeah, that's right. The NBA, they don't actually have a defined set of criteria for the voters.
Which means it changes every year. Every year. And it's quite honestly one of the most annoying things in my entire life is hearing people talk about it. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I think the Thunder, would they be as good as they are without SGA? No. But I think they'd still be contending. We're talking about I have my own problems with J-Dub, but they have guys. They have they're so well built that they'd still be maybe a top 4 seed. At least they would not be playing in the play-in. When I look at a team like the Spurs or the Lakers, and the Lakers have a whole cachet of their own problems, even with the players that they have now. It's when I look at the Spurs without Victor Wembanyama, they're still way out of what they are. And instead, we're talking about they're the bona fide number 2 seed in the West. That's where I come out.
A real chance to win the West.
Oh yeah.
Finish first in the standings, I mean.
Yeah. They're only 2.5 games back of the Thunder or something like that. There's a real argument there to be had of oh, this guy is so much or these guys are so much better with Wemby on the court. Like, he's 22-1 since February 1st. Like, this is bona fide, like, super special ground that he's walking on here. And like, that's where I come out on it. Justin, like, he's the pinnacle of most valuable to his team, in my opinion, this season.
And we're going to do MVPs on declinations, right? You're going to give us your MVP?
Yeah. I think, we'll talk a little bit about the expansion. We'll talk a little bit more about this.
About time, right? And good choices, expansion?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to talk too much basketball right now, just because I want to say it selfishly.
No, but you've covered what I wanted to talk about, so that's all good.
Seattle, more than deserving of a franchise.
Yes.
So glad they're potentially going to get one. And Vegas, like, I don't know, say what you will about Vegas, and they have a lot going on, and it's kind of like a weird, made up dystopian city. I think it'll be good for
more churches in Vegas per capita than anywhere.
Amen, brother.
There you go. Josh, you were making hand movements. You either had joined the Supremes or wanted to talk.
I'm not to speak for Josh. I think that was for me to shut his mic off because him and Mackenzie.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, it's hard being a moderator. I try to be Fred Davis over here. Do you ever remember Front Page Challenge? Okay. Betty Kennedy, Pierre Burton, Gordon Sinclair, Front Page Challenge. They had Gordie Howe on once. They didn't get it. I was like, it's Gordie Howe. Okay. Look, the brain is a funny thing. Sometimes you flash back. I was very pleased with the Oilers last night. I find them to be, as an organization, frustrating because I feel as though this organization has been in panic mode for a decade, and you can't do that. Imagine, do you know the feeling you get like when there's you do something and there's let's say your job and you send an email, it was supposed to go to one person and I don't want to be snark, but Betty in accounting is a jackass, and you accidentally send it to everybody. You know that sphincter tightening feeling that you get? Not that you've ever done that, and I'm sure Betty's very nice. But having said that, when you make a mistake like that, everything tightens up and you're like, breathe, get a bag and breathe. The Oilers have been like that for since 2015. They've been making big panic trades. Got to get a goalie. Got to get a goalie. Got to get a goalie. And then they play the hell out of the goalie like Cam Talbot, and they get rid of him. He's no good anymore. Got to get a goalie. Got to get a goalie. And they have been just running through assets like they're completely every year. They just roll over, and you've got another top 10 overall pick. And now they're paying the piper, right? Now they're doing it. And so for me, that's the part of this organization that is frustrating. Not what they're doing now. I think the Josh Szymanski signing was brilliant. I like the Matthew Savoy trade. You traded a third line center for a guy who's going to be a top 6 winger. I'll do that all day. I like the Podkolzin trade. But what I don't like is what I consider to be the Ken Holland coda. And it goes like this. We're going to get to July 1st, and we're going to sign a bunch of famous guys. They're going to want to come here. Got to give them a no movement clause. Probably have to pay them $1 million or more a year, too much, but they'll come here. And then you get them here, and you don't play them in the role that they are going to succeed. That's kind of like not enjoyable if you're playing along at home and thinking along with the general manager and the coach. It feels like there's a separation. There's not a stream of consciousness. Not everybody has bought in, and some point that there's going to be a fracture. And I think we saw it this year. I think the coach got to choose his own people, and then in the middle or just past the halfway point, Paul Coffey was airlifted in. So, and it doesn't look like it's working, and yet they play so well last night against a good team. I know it's not Tampa Bay. I know it's not Florida. But if they'd played that way against those two teams, honestly, I think the results would have been better. And they had their backup goalie, and they still played well. They were blocking shots like lickety-split, and he wasn't tested. He gave up 2 goals, and the first one, how in bloody blue blazes you're going to stop that? It goes off everybody's ass. Everybody's ass it hit, and it goes in the net. And that's fine. You got to give up a goal once in a while. That one, you don't fault the goalie. The second one, you really need him to be tighter to his net so the puck doesn't come out front, but it does. You give up that goal, but other than that, they were pretty solid. He had some high danger chances that he stopped. His 5-on-5 save percentage was like .923. Giddy up. You can build on that. Tristan Jarry can gain some confidence from that. But part of it was everybody was committed. They're just committed. They're blocking shots. They were working hard. They were going down deep. I saw Emerson digging in the corner. It's like he was trying to, dig a gigantic hole. He was trying to get that puck away from the opposition. They played inspired hockey last night. And ceiling floor. Why is it? And maybe it's the schedule. Maybe it's the Olympics. Maybe this is because it's their third deep run in a row. Maybe. They played so much hockey. Maybe all of those things are true. I think part of it is guys are playing injured. One of the reasons they're playing injured, here I go again, one of the reasons they're playing injured is because they're so close to the cap, they can't run 23 players. It is absolutely a problem. It was last year during the key moments of Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Matthias Ekholm was on the ice because he had to be. And Evan Bouchard wasn't 100%. And that play that will drive me nuts for the rest of my entire time on planet Earth, where Ekholm tries to move the puck up the wall, and it gets rejected by Aaron Ekblad. But Leon sends it back, and then he tries to send it over to Evan Bouchard, but it's an errant pass. Bouchard isn't moving great. It turns over at the blue line. Bingo, bango, it's in the back of the net. And then the next goal is McDavid misplaying the puck in his own zone, and bingo, bango, it's 2-0. And that's ball game. That is the end of the line. The Stanley Cup has been won by Florida. Those two plays partly because of a jailbreak, which I think is a coaching decision, and the fact that there was injured individuals on the ice. And those things come from the damned salary cap. And like I'm thrilled that Daryl Cates spends to the cap, but I think you have to do it more efficiently. And you can't start a year by saying, look, we're going to run 21 and we're not going to be able to call anybody up, but we'll get this done. Really? Really? The NHL, when you break, a bone, it's actually broken. I honestly think the Edmonton Oilers have to reset how they put their cap together, how many no movement clauses there are, and I know I rail against this, but it drives me nuts. Why are there there's so many restrictions on this team? You're going to go to summer this year, and you're not going to be able to make very many moves because let's say you want to trade Darnell Nurse, and let's say he says no. He has a right to do that. He signed the contract in good faith. That's a thing, good faith contract. He signed it. And he plays a lot. The coach loves him. Hell, Paul Coffey's playing him more. So let's say you don't trade Darnell Nurse because you think you need him. Now we'll check down to another guy who's got a no movement. Well, he says no. Okay. Stop signing no movement clauses. The time is running out on Connor McDavid, but give it your best shot. And your best shot is 23 men on the roster. So if somebody's hurt a little bit, you've got a little leeway that you can bring in your seventh defenseman and make him, play for a week or two. They traded Kulak because he was well off the pace in terms of speed. I don't remember the NHL edge different, but it was a few clicks. And now he's playing great. But they moved him because they had to make room and they had to go get a goaltender. It's a reactionary. There's not proactive, but there's reactive, and I can see the vision that Stan Bowman has, and I'm thrilled for him, and I'm thrilled for you as an Edmonton Oilers fan, because I wrote about it today in The Athletic. Josh Szymanski, believe it or not, Josh Szymanski is a sign of better days ahead. Third line center out of the German league, and he can play. He proved it last night. All right, Declanation's next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers the Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payment. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Hey, the Home and Garden Show returns to the Edmonton Expo Center this Thursday through Sunday. Know who's going to be there? Metal Supermarkets. Visit their booth and learn all about their huge selection of metal and metal processing. Those spring projects for your home, garage, and garden? Why go with wood when metal lasts forever? Plus, they'll be giving out free samples.
Tastes metally.
Yeah, on second thought, maybe not. Your local convenience stores for metalsupermarkets.com.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 at 1:42. We've climbed into declinations time. So we're going to move along here and tell you the declinations is brought to you by Fairway Divorce Solutions, the clear road to a new life. There is a better way. Fairwaydivorce.com. Declan.
Yeah. Declinations.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, no, I mean, lots to talk about in the NBA world. I guess, we had talked a good little fair bit about NBA MVP. I think we're going to talk more about that as well. The expansion, that was the news that kind of came down, that the league is now going to look towards expanding into Vegas and Seattle. Seattle more than deserving of a team like those Supersonics teams. Obviously, they won it in the late 70s there, but the late 90s with like Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, very cool. They were always mad for basketball. It sucked that they got moved to OKC. I'm so in favor of them getting a franchise back. It's a little bit Quebec Nordiques-esque, you know what I mean? Like you want them to have that franchise, like they really deserve it. They go to bat for it. They love their hockey. Very cool. And then Vegas is just kind of the hot new market, isn't it? Like, it's kind of like, if you're going to put a team somewhere these days, you're going to do it in Vegas. We obviously see it, in the MLB with the Athletics. We saw it with the Raiders in the NFL, obviously the Golden Knights, it's an expansion team. So they got all the leagues. It makes a lot of sense. It's a lot of money in that city. So yeah, very cool. I kind of like the league at 30 teams. I've always kind of, been a little elitist about it, that it has, of any North American pro sport, the least amount of teams, tied with the NFL. So, but no, it's great. It's cool. Seattle, especially, they really deserve a city. So happy they're going to get.
Well, and it's like, I mean, I know they're not going to call it the Supersonics, but I wish they would. They're
going to call it the Supersonics.
Are they really?
I imagine they will.
Oh, I would love that because they were such a great team, man.
I thought there was like a legal thing behind that when OKC and when the owners, purchased or moved the team from Seattle to OKC, there was going to be a legality thing where they still own like trademarks or like historic, whatever it is, to the Supersonics. Maybe that's not the case. I haven't really looked into it. That's what I thought it was, but I obviously could be wrong. And maybe I am. Maybe I
don't
am
know. I remember seeing a report that said the Thunder would concede at least the history of the Supersonics back to Seattle.
Well, and they deserve to be.
Well, also Thunder had their own history, right? They've done well.
Yeah, the Thunder now have 17 years of history.
They've had 3 league MVPs in 17
and the Supersonics, man, they were like, we should actually do a show from Seattle.
I'd love that. Right,
we
from
should
the
go
pier, at
do
the
a show.
Fish market.
Man,
it'd be so fun.
Pike's Place, I've been there many times.
Get a little.
I don't think we'd be able to afford
play a little grunge.
Yeah, that's true. We'd end up probably losing a lot of money.
So
yeah.
YOLO.
Listen, 100%. You can always make more money. You can never get the time back. So let's do a show in Seattle. We're putting our hands up. I guess the other thing is, I touched on this a little bit. There's no defined criteria for the NBA MVP, but I've kind of worked out my own. I've stolen it from some people. Like, I think to be the NBA MVP, it's got to be a mix of a few things here. One of them is obviously you have to have individuals and I kind of go about this way for the NHL as well when I, fill out my mock heart ballots, although the NHL does have that defined criteria. I look at obviously individual stats. You can't have bum numbers. You can't just be on a good team with bum numbers. You got to have individual stats. They have to be impressive. That kind of goes without saying. Like, there are some years where, and whatever it is, like there are some years where a team might be a 20-win team versus a 10-win team because of one player. And you're like, yeah, that's value, but he's putting up 18 points a game. You know what I mean? So you got to have the numbers. I look at, team success, of course, has to factor in. Like, are you a playoff team mostly, but not only just a playoff team, are you one of the higher seeds? Then you look at the surrounding supporting cast. And I think that's one thing that kind of hurts SGA for me is just how good that team is. That's no fault of SGA's, but it is something to consider when you look at where they are in the standings versus, say, the Spurs, the Lakers, supporting cast. And then you also look at historical significance. And that's kind of where I want to bring up Nikola Jokic. He's on pace to be the first player ever to lead the league in rebounds and assists. He's obviously also putting up like 28, 29 points a night. And he leads the league in triple doubles. He is more than second and third place combined and just shy of second, third, and fourth place combined. That's obviously historic. So that factors in as well. But yeah, all said, Luka Doncic is my MVP. Luka Doncic would be my MVP right now.
And you've said that on this show before, I believe.
It's a bit of a recent push for him. Yeah, like it's obviously fluid throughout the season. For a lot of the season, it was between SGA and Jokic, I think deservedly so. As of recently, as things have kind of started to wind down, as there's been a little bit more clarity on the season, I think for me, it's between Luka and Wemby, but Luka would be my MVP.
Okay.
Yeah, I have Wemby as my MVP. That's that. I think
that's that.
We've talked a lot about Wemby. I talked a lot about him last week before High Point. Chase Johnson made that absolutely sick lay.
First 2-pointer of the season.
To put High Point up. But yeah, that's where I come out on it, is that I think he has the stats. It's an efficient 25 every night, but he's also getting you like 3 blocks a night, basically. He can put up a double-double whenever he wants. Like, when he came into the season, he was good. And then for whatever, like, it's been unreal to see. He's like taken another step in the middle of the year, which is ludicrous to me, essentially. Like, he was playing great at the beginning of the year, and then somehow he's just playing like that much better, which is just, again, crazy to me.
And my choice is Dr. J. I think he should.
Oh, man.
One of the...
Tough to disagree.
When you want to talk about, not to just go all in on Dr. J here, but when you want to talk about a guy who, as a basketball career, when you mix what he did in the ABA with what he did in the NBA, I mean, one of the best ever, obviously. One of the best ever.
The reason I became a Dr. J and a 76ers fan was he did this roll, like the finger roll. He'd come flying down and he would do this amazing finger roll right into the basket. And I'm like, this magic, just so fantastic. And he did. You're right. He had a long career and a very good one.
Second best layup package in the league at that time behind the Iceman, George Gervin.
Those were the days.
Cold.
Yeah.
That's why they called him the Iceman.
He was icy.
Who's the most exciting player in the NBA right now?
Oh, there's an easy answer. Should we say it on 3?
We might not.
Tell by your face.
I think I might be blanked out here.
It's Anthony Edwards.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I was so worried it was going to be Jimmy.
No, Jimmy's kind of boring actually. But man, he's just steady. Like he's
the most
steady.
ethical, unethical hooper of all time.
Yeah. It's Edwards though. If anyone has a little bit of time, and I think there are some people quite bluntly out here listen to the show, listen to the station who just don't like basketball. Their eyes might gloss over when we talk about it, which I understand.
We get as wide as we can because we have 2 hours. We might as well use it properly.
Yeah,
it's called Sports 1440, not hockey.
And my thing that just to wrap up what I was going to say there was, if you're a little out on basketball, you don't like this, go watch Anthony Edwards highlights on YouTube. Just take the 10 minutes. If you're having your meal, you got some free time before the wife and kids come home, whatever it is, watch Anthony Edwards highlights. You will be a fan by the end of that YouTube video.
There you go.
Yeah, man, he's sick. The reincarnation of Michael Jordan.
Are you done with the?
Yeah. Wrap us up.
How many minutes do we have left?
We got about 2.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I want to go back to the flag football thing. Is this going to be like litigious? Are NFL players going to be so aggressive about playing in the Olympics that these poor guys who've been working towards becoming Olympians in this sport are going to have to give it up for NFL players who are going to have to figure out how to play flag football?
Well, it's not looking like they're going to have to give it up because those flag football guys beat them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I just think, and we obviously went on it heavily earlier in the show. If you weren't here, go back and listen. I just think like optically it's terrible. That's kind of the base of my argument, to not say too much as the show is winding down here.
Well, so like it is a completely different game, though.
I wouldn't say completely. It's different. I wouldn't say completely.
But how many people hit the quarterback before he throws or as he throws in flag football?
Well,
I played flag football, but maybe it's changed.
I know what you're doing here. Obviously, there are no hits. I know, I get that. But there's QB pressure.
Well, sure. And there's a football. So there's lots in common. I get that. I just don't know that how seriously the NFL guys took it. I understand that they want to play, but did they spend months learning the rules and all of that stuff?
Well, someone had texted in and made a point like these flag football players are laying it all on the line, and the NFL players are treating it like an exhibition. Which, sure, there may be some degree of truth to that. But when you're still a group of NFL all-stars and you lose to guys who are doing this part-time, once a week or whatever it is, I just think optically, that looks bad.
We should get one of those flag football players in and ask him that question about, you play it part-time, not that big a deal to you. Because if they're trying to make the Olympics, I bet they're really trying.
Oh, they're trying. But that's just the life of an amateur athlete as well. Like, bluntly, like it or not, you still... The money isn't there the way it is in professional sport. Like Lorianne Munzer's talked about it a lot. You got to go to work. You got to, you know what I mean? So.
No, it's true. There's the music.
Anyway, it's almost on the dot.
It's an interesting conversation, and I'm glad we had it. And we'll talk about flag football again in the next decade. So there is that. On the way, Jason Krueger going to talk about last night's game. Fascinating game. I'm really interested in hearing what he said because for me it was confirmation this team's ceiling and floor are so wide apart it's the Grand Canyon. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham, Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly, 780-265-0165. NBA voting to explore Vegas and Seattle as expansion bids for the league, as we just talked about at the Governors Board meeting just yesterday. Penguins. Evgeny Malkin, day-to-day, he is not traveling with the team in the NHL. 2 games on the ice, Bruins and Sabres, and the New York Rangers and Toronto Maple Leafs. And MLB opening action today, Yankees and Giants at 6:05 on Netflix, Fried and Webb on the mound. And in the AJHL playoff action, Whitecourt and Fort Mac, Drumheller and Camrose, Grand Prairie and Lloydminster and Canmore and Calgary, all at 7 p.m. I'm Declan Krueger. Up next is the Jason Krueger Show. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports. And as you mentioned,